now. I only have 10% battery left.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the October 21st, 2024 Eureka Springs Hospital Commission regular meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll begin with a roll call, starting with you, sir.
David Carlisle, Commissioner.
Brian Byler, Commissioner.
Kate Dryer, Secretary.
Barbara Dix, Vice Chair.
Ken Turner, Chair.
Sandy Martin, Commissioner.
Angie Shaw, CEO.
Cynthia Asbury, CFO.
Thank you. I circulated copies of the minutes from the last meeting from the September 16th minute. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. I sent copies of the agenda out to you last Friday. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved as appended.
I second it.
Anybody have any changes or additions to the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Well, we do have a member of the public, even though he's not really a member of the public. Councilman Steve Hollyfield would like to have a few minutes of our time, and we will gladly give it to him.
Hello, hear me?
Yes.
Steve Holofield, 12 Hillside. I'm here tonight not as a city council member or commissioner for CAPC. I'm here as a concerned neighbor and citizen of Eureka Springs, a town that I love so much. I'm here to talk about the CAPC vote on November 5th, which actually early voting started today. So we want to get the word out. I've gone to every commission. You all are not the least, but the last commission I've gone to speak to. And I'm just reminding people that the points about this: one, the tax is not collected by individuals; it's collected by restaurants and hotels. The only time residents pay for this tax is when you go out to eat somewhere here in town. Other places have tried to do this before: Colorado, someplace in Connecticut. It's been disastrous. Every place that voted down their A&P tax, it's been disastrous. Colorado took 10 years to get their tourism back up to where it was after they voted it down. Please, word of mouth, I think is real important. I'm afraid there's a lot of people in town that don't know what the CAPC is, don't care, aren't going to educate themselves. They're going to look at the ballot, they're going to see, oh, get rid of a tax, sure. So it's real important that we educate our neighbors, our friends, anybody within the city limits, registered voter, please talk to them. If they have questions, please refer them to me or somebody else that knows what's going on here, and please ask them to vote no on local issue number 3. And that's really all I have. I've been talking about this so many times. I feel like I know it forward and backwards. So I watch every one of your commission meetings. I appreciate what you all do. I appreciate all the commissions in town. I think the volunteers that volunteer on the commissions are underappreciated. But I, for one, as your neighbors, thank you for being here, and thank you for giving your time.
Thank you, Steve. Very important message. We're going to move on to committee reports and the 2023 audit committee reports. The Finance Committee did meet. We didn't have too many issues. We do have some concerns because we are straggling again in claims, and there's some things that we need to get issued. There's some issues that we need to get resolved to get those claims filed. It's my understanding we have about $100,000 worth of claims outstanding because of internal processes. So we need to get those internal processes corrected and get those out. That's about the only significant thing that came out of the committee. The 2023 audit, the only reason I put it on here is because it is out. You all have copies of it. I gave everybody copies of it at our budget workshop. And it will. I will now make an appointment with the mayor's office to get on the city council to present it to the city council. CEO report.
Okay. All right, we'll just jump into it. ER visits for September were 230 through the ER. Our average length of stay is right at 4 hours. In August, the lab completed 556 orders, radiology had 214 exams, and we completed 15 endoscopies through the OR. In September, we've seen a decrease in utilization of our services in all departments except for surgery. Surgery did go up a couple of patients compared to August. And when I look back historically at September's, 2022 and 2023 were kind of bumper years, but previous to that, 2021 and prior to that, we've seen around 230 to 240 patients a month, and that was the regular amount. So we'll just see how it continues to move forward from here. Optimal Therapy began providing physical therapy in-house and at the Huntsville location this past month. I am getting good feedback from the community as well as the patients regarding this partnership, so I feel like it's going good. Our new pharmacist, Kelly, started in September. We have been discussing pharmacy, and she has some good ideas regarding some potential outpatient services that we're going to start researching a little more. Last week, I did receive a letter ending our contract with Dr. Branch. Dr. Branch is our pathologist that oversees our laboratory as the medical director. It is a 60-day out, so we have 60 days to find a new pathologist to step into that role. I'm actively advertising for that as we speak.
So may I ask a question? Is that a pathologist who oversees us from a distance, so to speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He does come in like once a month,
Right.
but yeah. I know that there are still some concerns out there regarding Oracle and some in-house processes that were just mentioned. There still seems to be some issues with some charges dropping that we're reviewing. I'm now involved in that and reviewing it as well. There are also issues with pharmacy. As you know, our pharmacist left during the middle of Go Live back in April, so there are some issues there. Kelly has stepped in and is working through those as well as she can with a little guidance from Oracle. I've been in contact trying to get her training set up. They just advised me that their pharmacy department has lost all but 2 people. And they do not have the resources at this point. So I have reached out to some third-party companies that's what they do, just to get an idea. In the meantime, she is doing all of her training through the system online and going back through some learning journeys and trying to get that guidance that way. Able Pay was initiated last month. That is a program that allows us to offer some payment plans through a third party for payments to the hospital. I know it was discussed during the first week of October with the city during our open enrollment, and then it's also being advised to patients as they come through. It's a good program. They have partnered with the Hospital Association here in Arkansas, and that's how we found out about them.
So if we're going to move forward on ABLE, we're going to do anything to try to advertise this to our local residents so they know there's a program out there for them?
There are some marketing that they're sending us that we're going to start sending out.
Is
And
there
I-
a cost to that?
There is.
Is it percentage of like claims? Or
It is a
what they-
percentage.
what they-
All right. So last week, Jody and I both attended the REH conference in Bethesda, Maryland. It is the first REH conference ever. It's only attended by rural emergency hospitals, and I believe there are around 18 out of the 30 that were there, along with a couple of other hospitals that are looking into transitioning to REH. They had quite a few speakers, and CMS was there as well and was able to answer some questions. And mainly they took back a lot of our questions back to CMS to try to get us some answers, hopefully.
It's my understanding they funded that, correct?
Yes,
So what didn't cost us, they funded it.
yes. One thing I did learn is that the hospitals that were there were a lot like us. They were facilities that had seen a change in their demographics, had already started losing inpatient services, and were focusing more on outpatient. There were facilities that were there too that were 2 days away from closing their doors when they were given their RH designation, and it saved them. So it was nice to hear those stories and understand some of the struggles that they were going through and what they've done to better themselves.
Did
One,
they talk about staffing as far as how they looked at staffing?
you know, a lot of them had cut staffing, a lot of them had cut services that we have never offered, but
Okay.
that's what it
And
was.
those discussions were,
That's what it circled around. One area they focused on was what their community needed, kind of like what we've talked about, you know, getting ideas of what is needed so they're not traveling. And of course, that was anywhere from labs to increasing radiology testing, respiratory therapy. They were doing outpatient sleep studies, items of that nature. So, you know, I've got a lot of education, a lot of notes from that. We're going to start looking to see if any of that may be feasible for us. You know, it's all going to depend on what the ROI is and if it's feasible. But we need to look at different options for sure. Another area that surprised me was Medicare reimbursement. A lot of facilities in other states were asking what our reimbursement was, that Medicare was seeing them as just an outpatient clinic, so they were only reimbursing like $50 a visit, $51. There is some legislation out there. Arkansas is currently defining how Medicare will reimburse the REHs in Arkansas. And as I've read through everything, you know, there's nothing set in stone. They're still in I guess they're getting comments at this point on what they're offering. But right now, it's looking like it could be as low as $12 a visit. So, yeah, so
In the ER?
that's some of it, yes.
We talked about this during the budget meeting. Told you, everybody's told Medicare cuts are coming.
And that's just Medicaid, sorry, Medicaid.
Medicaid. That's
Not
Medicare.
Medicare, sorry.
all right, clarification.
I
I
said
think
Medicaid.
you can expect them on the
I see.
Medicare side too, so.
Right, CMS is, I mean, they're totally involved in Medicare, so it's, you know, for having the RH program, they ought to have their hands on the
Yeah.
deals forthwith.
Yeah, so that is Medicaid. That was my miscommunication there, but it is the Medicaid. Medicare is still, no changes there, but Medicaid
But
is.
Medicaid is definitely a big concern because of, you know, the rural areas of Lynn anyway.
Mm-hmm. And
so.
there are a lot of Medicaid patients in the rural areas, so
Did you say there was legislation happening?
there is. They're taking comments right now on what they're proposed.
There's a doctor in the legislature that started the REH here. He's staying very much involved in that to make sure that it runs the way it's supposed to run, so.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
they're taking comments until November 4th,
Is there something
and
we
I
should
can
be
send
doing?
it out to you. if you
Could
wanna
you?
read it
On the
through.
on the state side, we've got a doctor that's,
Doctor that's a legislator.
okay.
I actually talked to him before when all of this started, back in the days when we were still talking about not wanting to change from a critical access hospital. And he's very impressive. I will tell you that. He's very dedicated to this.
Okay.
Yes.
So we might need to contact him and give him our opinions?
Yeah, he's very good friends with our current rep, so.
Okay.
A lot of the struggles the hospitals talked about too were a lot of our same struggles, you know, regarding EMS, not being able to find transport, or EMS bypassing them altogether to take them to other facilities. I mean, that was a common thing that I seen among every hospital.
Yeah, it's made the news last week. Yeah, I saw a little clip on the
Yeah.
national news about this issue being a real.
Yeah. They're actually starting, well, it'll be 2025, they're going to look at how they can help rural emergency, or not emergency, but rural emergency EMS with funding to help in this time, because it's not just Arkansas, it's every state across the nation that's having issues with transport at this time. Another area that they recommend is education. I know that we are involved in pretty much anything and everything that goes on in this community through Samantha. One area that some of the hospitals offered was like a monthly education seminar. You know, we used to do lunch and learns years ago. I don't know if any of you remember those. We'd have some sort of an educational seminar and then serve lunch at the same time. I actually reached out to Dr. Cressy and Dr. Bell, and they are on board and would be willing to come in and do some of this education. And I feel like they've always been big supporters of this hospital, and I feel having them involved would be great.
Probably, I think you're hitting the nail on the head to have it, if they're willing to help us leverage. They've got such contact and such influence.
Yeah, they have known them for a long time, and they've always been very supportive of the hospital, so I think it would be a good partnership to bring them in and have them help do some community education. And I know I attached Sam's marketing report for your review. I know that we've started some educational lunches with the local clinics, and unfortunately I missed the one last week, but it's my understanding it was well received and got some information come out of it. So,
What was the feedback from Boston Mountain on how we can address their issues?
So a lot of it has to do with getting results back. And I know regarding faxing of results back to them, they're saying they haven't received them. We show on our side that they were sent. So we've put some processes in place that if we send anything to them, we're going to call within an hour and make sure that they received it. And if it's to the point that they don't receive it, we're going to courier it over to them.
Good.
Great, excellent.
And I know that there's been some issues with, they're saying that they're sending referrals and we're not getting them, and we're looking into that. So it might be that they may have to call and not rely on their electronic system a little bit. So we're going to work through those and make sure that they're getting everything over to us and we're getting it right back to them. So, they had good things to say about the facility and the staff that we have here, and know their patients get good care. So I think it was a good meeting.
Good. Other questions for Angie? Just to add on to the marketing report, I was asked to come and speak to a Holiday Island group last week, which went very, very well. So it was very well attended and spoke for about 15 or 20 minutes. And we had one person that had didn't have a pleasant process with us, but we actually showed how quick we can react. Sam was sitting right behind her, and I said, you turn around, you give your name to Sam. We will check into it and make sure that doesn't happen again. So, okay. CFO report.
So the first page past the cover sheet is our bank account balances. Really not much change for the month of September. So also there was a positive in that within the accounts. The next page is going to be the income statement for the month. We do have an income of $114,000. I will say part of that is because, again, as we're working through, our bad debt expense was only around $3,000. We didn't have as much write-offs from our legacy system, so again, it's cleaning up the aging and working through that. We do have a lot that will hit for October again, so it's just kind of working through a lot of the collections, bad debt, writing it off. Getting the aging cleaned up will make a difference, and seeing so much reductions on that. Within that one, the next page is our revenue usage and summary for September. Overall, we were down about 9% again from the previous month, which was again down from even the other months. So, our total revenue was $773 for the month of September on that. So, there was areas definitely that we seen significant drops. I mean, across the board, just, I mean, as Angie said, within the stats, the ER was down. I mean, all of our kind of outpatient services was down. We did have a good, I would say, revenue capture for pharmacy for the month of September as opposed to what we had in August, so. And that's all I have on that report. I will talk on what Kent mentioned about the claims and kind of issues we do. As of today, we have about 149,000 on hold on claims that is pending internal review from, most of them, I will say, from the nursing staff, has either requested the chart to be on hold so they can review charges, or there's charge issues that need to be resolved so we can bill it out.
Does it sound like a mountain to climb, or is it?
I mean, some of these are 4 to 6 weeks old, and I've been asking for weeks for them to be resolved, and they're still not, so.
Well, I can report on some of that now that I've been involved a little more with the charging. A few of them relay back to physicians, not having physicians finalize notes, not having documentation in there correctly. So we've had to reach out to ESS and file our concerns with them, and then waiting. Some of those physicians need to get things caught up, and they are. It's just took some time on getting them to sit down and finish their charts. One thing with Cerner or Oracle is that they now have access that they can do it from wherever they're at, so they don't have to come in. Like with MedHost, we would have to wait until they were back in-house, which could be weeks. But it's trying to get them to focus and get it done, and had multiple conversations with ESS regarding this.
Can we not require them that they can't check out until they've got the paperwork all finished for the day, for the shift?
That's one thing that I have discussed with ESS, or
I mean, I
they're
think
not allowed to come
It's
back.
going to have to be mandatory. If we're shorting ourselves that kind of money, it's going to be mandatory. These physicians are going to have to sign off on their stuff when they walk out.
I mean, there's
At
about
least something in that.
60,000 though that's waiting for coding, which is more pertinent related to physician. There's 149,000 that's just charge review or manager review hold claims. So, I mean, there's a total of 242,000 on hold, so,
Two areas of concern that are giving us.
yes.
So it's not all physicians?
No, that is correct, yes.
Okay, so there's another leak somewhere?
Yes.
We've got some processes that we need to clean up. We're going to talk through that. We won't be able to have a finance meeting this week, but we'll get to it very quickly, so.
And you said that the physicians can now complete their charting from home remotely?
They can go in
Okay,
remotely,
great.
yes.
I'm kind of like you, though. As far as I'm concerned, they ought to be doing it before they leave.
You know, it just has to
If they
be,
can't do if they can't do it while they're in the hospital, they probably won't do it while they're out.
every dollar counts here. This business
Yeah.
of not doing it is, you know,
That brings me to my next item. We did have 2 very productive budget workshops. I think we have at least a baseline for us to start to work from next year. We'll get that put together and get it formalized and get it presented, but I appreciate all of the effort that everybody put into that, because they were rather long sessions, but we do have, I think we're well on our way, and I certainly got answers to a lot of the questions I had about different things, and I hope the rest of you did too.
my hat's off to Sandy and just this effort for getting this.
Yes, absolutely,
Man, fantastic.
absolutely.
So at least we got the starting point, right?
I keep saying I'm going to take this next line item off, but I'm not until we get everything resolved. We don't have to say much about it.
One thing on the budget thing I wanted
okay.
to ask, Angie and Cynthia both, are you comfortable with the revenue projections?
I would think so. Everything I read
think so.
looked appropriate.
Look like it was okay. Okay, good, because that's critical. Okay. You too?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Okay?
sorry.
That's all right. Don't be sorry. That leads us to commission comments. Anybody have any comments?
None?
I just am happy the RH meeting went on at this time. It's really, for us, a crucial point to be able to meet with these folks and find out what's going on out there. Am I correct to say are there only 2 hospitals in Arkansas right now under the rural?
There are 4.
4 now? Okay. So we've got at least a little bit of a track record going 4 different.
Yeah.
And we live with the uniqueness of Eureka Springs. You know, we're a little different than most of them out there just because of the way our
Right.
volume of traffic. But, you know, I was excited about hearing you guys were going out there, so It's been a good week.
Okay. Barbara?
I'm good.
The only thing I'd like to say is we're going through a lot of changes, and it is not a pleasant time. But those of you that know when we talked about this earlier, when we decided to do this stuff, I was very vocal about the fact that it wasn't going to be easy. And the conversion has ended up being more like I expected it to be than what I was led to expect it to be. So I'm just letting everybody, I know we have some issues, and we've got to get those issues resolved. Some of those issues are bleeding through to our customers, to our patients, because I'm hearing about some of those. So we need to be responsive, and we need to come together as a team and literally put this thing on the right track. I'm a little bit more hopeful, even though the bad debts bother me a bit. I'm a little bit more hopeful with the financials that we had this time than before, than we have been seeing. We can't go backwards. We've got to continue to push forwards. So, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.